welcome to the ribbon cutting for Ulman House. Thank you all for being here. It is my pleasure to serve as the board chair for Ulman Foundation, and I want to make some very special welcomes. I'll actually introduce him right into the front row. Senator Chris Van Hollen is with us today.
Thank you.
We have Baltimore Mayor Jack Young. I believe we have Delegate Stephanie Smith. State Senator Bill Ferguson. State Senator Cory Mccray. Baltimore County Executive Johnny O. We have Bridget Lundfeld of the Governor Larry Hogan's office. And I think she snuck in here, Councilwoman Shannon Sneed. Right in front of me. Also a special thank you to our founders, Diane and Lou Ulman. Thank you guys for making us all, put us all here today. I also saw Ken Ulman around here today. His wife Jackie and I believe their daughters. But I also want to thank all the members of the foundation board that are here, donors, supporters, individuals, representatives, and corporate partners. But most importantly, and hopefully you've met some of them today, I want to thank the residents of Ulman for welcoming us into your home away from home today. So thank you for putting up with this. Something like Ulman House just can't happen because you snap your fingers and it happens. This has been a 5-year project of kind of love and passion, and we're so excited that the doors officially opened in January. To give some stats to it, we've already supplied 430 nights of lodging this year to 42 separate patients and caregivers, and look to do many, many more. Ceremony is a very important part of a cancer patient's journey. A lot of you will know it's the ringing of the bell at the end of a stage of treatment. It's also a big, important part for the Ulman Foundation. A lot of you have probably participated in our dedication circles for those who fought, provided care, or succumbed to cancer. So we pause today to mark this historic moment, the opening of Ulman House, and the additional valuable new resource to the adult cancer community. So I'm really honored in his first day on the job that you would, you've been on the job, but officially, first day on the job, that you would choose to spend it with us. So let's give a warm welcome to Mayor Jack Young.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to thank Trevor for the introduction. I'm always happy to be here with all the elected officials here. My senator, he is my senator. I live in this district. I want to thank Councilwoman Sneed. Without her support, we wouldn't be here today. To the Almond family, thank you so much for all that you have done to make this house what it is today, a home for those families who are dealing with cancer. And I can really, really feel that because my father died from cancer, my grandmother died from cancer, my aunt died from cancer, and they didn't have places like this. And when they had to go the last mile of the way, they spent that in these little nursing homes and things of that nature. And we didn't want them to be there, but we just could not care for them. So this is very, very important, and I know the families appreciate that, and I know that we as elected leaders appreciate that as well. So I'm not selfish. So I want to yield a little bit of time I have left to Councilwoman Shannon Sneed because she was very instrumental in making sure she supported this project. So thank you for having me.
I just want to say I really appreciate you guys coming to the 13th District on Madison. You could have went anywhere in Baltimore City or in Maryland or the world. And you came to an area that doesn't have a whole bunch going on right now, but because of you, your interest and your dedication to this area, I know we'll see more people moving in and more people taking advantage of this opportunity here to have a home away from home. Our I'm married. It's true to his word. Yesterday he called me and said, I'm yielding my time to you. And sure enough, I said, oh, I won't worry about him. I won't have to get up and speak, and I wasn't prepared, but thank you, Mayor, for letting me say a few words.
Thank you both. It's always good when you try to match the mayor's blazer, except I'm missing the tie and the handkerchief. So I'll learn. I promise I'll learn, but I did my best. It's my pleasure to introduce from Governor Hogan's office community initiatives, and the governor's office provided $200,000 towards the Ulman House through a bond bill. So the Director of Outreach, Bridget Lundfeld, please come on up.
Thank you, Trevor, for that introduction. Good morning, and thank you so much for the invitation to be here today. I am honored to be here representing Governor Larry Hogan for this very special event. My name is Bridget Lundfeld, and I am the Outreach Director for the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. Governor Hogan is sorry that he could not be here today, but asked that I attend on his behalf and give these brief words. As you know, Governor Hogan was diagnosed with an aggressive stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma shortly after taking office in 2015. However, he stayed strong and determined and announced in November 2015 that he was officially 100% cancer-free and in complete remission. It was on October 2016 when the governor completed his final maintenance chemotherapy treatment and said he never could have made it without the amazing support of those around him. It was truly amazing to watch Marylanders support him. He also vowed to never stop fighting until a cure is discovered. Governor Hogan, his family, the citizens of Maryland bonded together to support him in his recovery. To be able to witness this was, again, truly special. Despite this incredible challenge, he held meetings and brought work to the hospital. He was determined to be here for Maryland. Since then, he has made funding cancer research and organizations like the Almond House, who assist people and families suffering from this disease, a priority. He understands firsthand the importance of proper and timely medical care for patients, as well as the importance of health care accessibility. Thanks to the Almond House, patients now have access to world-class health care who otherwise would not have. The governor has partnered with nearly a dozen organizations across the state to fight for a cure, and the Almond House has been an important part of this network. That's why he ensured that the Almond Cancer Fund home for young adult cancer patients and caregivers received a $200,000 grant through a state bond bill. Last year, Governor Hogan signed legislation that requires insurance coverage for fertility preservation services of cancer patients struggling with infertility due to cancer treatments. Maryland is the third state to provide this benefit in the U.S. Recently, just after the 2019 legislative session, Governor Hogan signed 174 bills into law, including critical legislation to improve cancer coverage benefits for firefighters. Governor Hogan has made supporting cancer patients and cancer research a priority for Maryland. Your team here is absolutely making a positive difference in our communities. Thank you for your leadership of the Ulman House, the board members, and the dedication of your staff and volunteers. I would also like to sincerely applaud all the patients and their families for not giving up, but continuing to fight cancer. Our prayers are with you. Stay strong. Hang on. Hang on, I lost my place here. I would like to close by saying this quote that I love from Governor Hogan. I stayed positive, I stayed active, and for some reason I can't see. I stayed positive, I stayed active, and I kept myself distracted. You cannot be consumed by your diagnosis. You have to just keep moving forward. It is my distinct honor at this time to present this governor's citation to Almond House. You want to come up? Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of a tribute in honor of the opening celebration of the Almond House, with congratulations on this special milestone, celebrating your success and commitment to providing exceptional support services to young adult cancer patients and their families, and as the people of Maryland join together in expressing our great respect and sincere best wishes for your future success, we are pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation, signed Governor Larry Hogan, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, and Secretary of State John C. Wilbon Smith.
Thank you, Bridget. I had my reading glasses on and I still made a mistake, just for the record, so I have no excuse for this, but I missed one of our speakers and I want to welcome State Senator Cory Mccray up to the stand.
How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? I won't tell Trevor that I'm cut half his pay for missing me, but no, but seriously, I just wanted to say thank you. On behalf of the Maryland General Assembly, each and every senator, each and every delegate, just like to say thank you. I saw my vice chair, Budget and Tax, he was in here somewhere, Bill Ferguson. I'm sure that Bill Ferguson would say the same thing if he was on this stage. And each and every member of the 45th Legislative District, we have Delegate Stephanie Smith, Delegate Talmadge Branch, and Delegate Cheryl Glenn. Very, very appreciative of the work that you all are doing. And I'd just like to say thank you to the Ulman House. Because as a young man from Baltimore City, I'm an electrician, there's many things that I do not know. And one of the things that I wasn't educated on was cancer, Senator Van Hollen. And I didn't understand or know about how it affects our young people, how it affects our old people, and how it affects all people, and the people indirectly affected by the families that's affected. So I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say thank you to each and every elected official. I think that you did a very good job. You got a mayor, got a couple senators, a councilwoman, and then I'm almost thinking that this guy right here is running for something in Baltimore. I saw him last night. I heard him on my radio this morning, but just it's great to see Senator Van Hollen right here in East Baltimore. I think that Councilwoman Sneed did a fantastic job in reference to just thank you for our neighbors in East Baltimore. As the mayor as the mayor whispered over in my ear, he talked about how we remember how EBDI was first showing it, and how we can see what 3-4 houses in East Baltimore that's ran down, abandoned, can look like when we have vision and when we have people that are putting something forward. So we say thank you. But the most important thing, Trevor, is I was sitting in that seat and I was thinking about when Brock came and when the Ulman House came and they talked about the bond bill. And I remember the speaker. And I remember Speaker Mike Bush, and we were talking about what's your priorities this year, Cory. But I think about the legacy that Speaker Mike Bush has left us in the state of Maryland by putting his hand on each and every project across the state of Maryland. So I say thank you for keeping that legacy going. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Our next speaker is like so many of you in the crowd that have a story of how you supported, but we wanted her to come up and talk a little bit about an initiative she's taken on with one of the family suites upstairs and kind of her why and why she's involved. So please join me in welcoming Emily Sokolinsky. Did I do okay? Sokolinsky.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Emily Sokolinsky, and I am the owner of 5x3 Training. It's a strength and conditioning gym in Brewers Hill. We actually opened our doors in Harbor East and moved about a year ago to the Brewers Hill area, so we're very happy in our new location and our new home. I opened my gym about 8 years ago, in June of 2011. 3 months after I opened my gym, on September 14th, 2011, excuse me, my sister called me to tell me she had cancer. She had surgery about 3 weeks later, and was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. My first fundraising event was a yoga class for the Susan Cohan Colon Cancer Foundation that I just kind of Googled and found online because I'd never been exposed to cancer before in my family, at least this close. I'm not exactly sure when Charlotte learned of Ulman, but she wasn't the kind of person to just sit around and wait for things to happen. So she sought out help and support, and she found it with Ulman. In 2012, she volunteered for the Almond Triathlon and decided in January of 2013 to register for the triathlon in October and asked me to join her. This is meantime she had gone through chemotherapy and was now in remission and ready to tackle on the next opportunity. In the meantime, she joined the Cancer to 5K program and discovered how much she loved to run. And run she did. Up hills and down, she never walked. A year before she started running, I had organized my first Strong Woman contest, the Charm City Strong Woman contest, thanks to the encouragement of one of my weightlifting friends. This was my second fundraiser for the Susan Cohan Colon Cancer Foundation and the first of 6 contests for this organization, all in honor of Charlotte. In June of 2013, Charlotte was re-diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and started her second round of chemo. She had just completed the 5K race in DC with Ulman and the Baltimore's Women Classic 5K with me. She decided not to do the full try, just the running part, and she kept training. In October 2013, Charlotte and I ran together at the Ulman Triathlon. I was her Sherpa, although if she had not had her long chemo treatment 4 days prior to the race, she would have been my Sherpa. She was that fast. In 2014, Charlotte was honored at the Ulman Blue Jeans and Bow Tie Ball. She looked beautiful, as always. She started her third round of chemo treatment in August of 2014. Her last contest with me was in September of 2014. We celebrated Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's together. On February 11th, 2015, my sister Charlotte died at Gilchrist Hospice at the age of 38. 3 organizations had a huge impact on Charlotte and her life with cancer. Susie's Cause, the Susan Cohan Colon Cancer Foundation, Ulman, and Gilchrist. I have tried to honor these organizations since her death through various fundraising events at my gym. In 2018, the Susan Cohan Colon Cancer Foundation disbanded after the death of the founder, David Cohan. It seemed only right to now use our contest to raise money for the Ulman Foundation, since this organization had played such an important role in Charlotte's life and in our life. I met with Brock and Katie at Ulman to talk to them about my plan to raise money for them and asked what was the best way to go about doing this, since there were so many ways to donate. The Ulman house seemed like the perfect idea, a home away from home, a home that Charlotte would have been delighted to see today and know that so many cancer patients and their families have such support as she had with her own family. Rock and Katie mentioned the opportunity to name one of the suites at the house in honor of Charlotte, a $100,000 donation. Right then and there, I pledged to raise $20,000 a year for the next 5 years in order to raise the money for Charlotte's suite. This past year, we held our 7th annual Charm City Strong Woman contest for the Ulman Foundation, and I'm proud to say that we successfully raised over $20,000 for the year number 1. And next Wednesday, registration opens for the 8th annual Charm City Strong Woman contest, and I know it's going to be even bigger and better than last year. Thank you to Brock and Katie and everyone at Ulman who have made it their mission to help those in need, cancer patients, survivors, families, caretakers. Your dedication to your mission is unwavering. Thank you for letting me give back to you who gave so much to my sister and my family during our time of need. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. I first got to know him when he was a U.S. Congressman in Montgomery County and was always impressed at the tireless advocacy for the community. Now he takes care of Maryland from the U.S. Senate. So without further ado, it's my sincere pleasure to introduce Senator Chris Van Hollen.
Well, thank you, Trevor. First, let me say it is great to start the day off of Capitol Hill, and it's wonderful to be with you in the great city of Baltimore, especially for this good cause, the Ulman House. And Emily, thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you for your incredible commitment to helping others who have faced the struggles that you and your family have. And that, of course, is what the Ulman House is all about, being there for people in a time of need. And so I want to thank the Ulman family, to Lou and Diana. Thank you very much for your commitment to this cause. I know Doug's not here, but his challenges obviously inspired you to reach out and help others. I want to thank you. I'm pleased that Ken is here. I don't know, he must be in the other room. I want to thank the whole family. To Brock, thank you for your leadership. Let's give the whole family another round of applause. We are here because of your generosity and good spirit. I do want to take this opportunity to salute the mayor, who had his ceremonial swearing in just yesterday, but I can tell you he hit the ground running long before that. Jack Young, the city's in good hands. Thank you for your leadership and for being here today. And for Councilmember Snee, thank you for your leadership. And Cory Mccray, we've been hanging out in East Baltimore together. Good to see you again today. And all the legislators and the representatives from the governor's office. It really does take a community to come together. And if you look around the room, we have here a dedicated community. And of course, to all the patients who are making this their home as they meet the challenges in their lives. It is great to see you, and we are with you and fighting with you here today. For many years, and I want to thank Trevor and the board for all your leadership. We first met when I was in the House of Representatives, and for many years in the House, I chaired something called the Childhood Cancer Caucus. It was a caucus established to help encourage more treatments and the discovery of more cures for childhood cancer, because like cancer that strikes adolescents and people between the ages of 15 and 40, many people around the country don't think of childhood and cancer together. And yet it is a devastating disease. Childhood cancer is the leading cause of disease-related death among children in the country. And so we've been promoting more cures for children that also help younger adults. And as part of that effort at the National Institutes of Health, which of course is the premier medical research center in the world, they established something called the Children's Inn. And the reason for the Children's Inn was people were coming from all over the country with children who'd been stricken with different forms of cancer, and those families needed a place to stay, a home away from home. And I want to salute the Ulman House for doing something similar for another group of Americans who people don't think of in terms of cancer either. I mean, we just don't think of people between the ages of 15 and 40 being stricken with cancer. And that means there are special challenges for people in that age range because it can often be difficult to get a diagnosis. My understanding is that it takes many, many days, I think like 75 days, between the time you appear at a doctor's office to be able to connect with an oncologist. And of course, these are individuals who in many cases are, they're going to college or trying to finish up their education or beginning a family. They have all these incredible demands and opportunities in their lives, and then they get this terrible news that they have cancer. And so they seek out treatment, and of course here in Baltimore City with Johns Hopkins University and University of Maryland Medical System, we have some great medical providers who can help. But if you're living far away from the city and the care, it makes it almost impossible for you to try to live your life and have the treatments you need and get the care. And so that's why Ulman House is so important. It fills that really important need for the individuals and their families and friends who are fighting in this struggle and fighting cancer. And so I just want to thank all of you who've been part of bringing the Ulman House here to Baltimore. I've visited the Children's Inn at NIH many times, and you can see the expressions on the faces of family members and children who are in this really difficult moment in their lives. And if it hadn't been for that place of refuge, they would not be able to sort of carry on and keep their spirits up. And so I see this as an important center of activity and refuge for the patients who are here. And it does give me this great privilege to now introduce to you somebody who is a resident here, Maria Vest. Maria is a 21-year-old. She has Ewing sarcoma. She lives in White Plains, Maryland. I'm told you love riding horses and hiking. Her cat Tom is the featured as the Ulman House Pet of the Week. We all want to meet Tom. The staff I was talking to tells me that you always have a smile on your face. I can see that's the case, and you've been a joy for the Ulman House staff to get to know you. I also understand that you're the go-to person for discussing Game of Thrones theories. So, for those of you who are Game of Thrones fans, like Arya Stark, fighting her way through Winterfell and defeating the Night King, Maria has overcome great adversity in her battle against Ewing sarcoma, and like Arya Stark, she will prevail. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you
Oh, thank you so much for that kind introduction. I was not expecting that today. So my cancer journey began in 2018. I was away at school and I discovered a lump on my back. And so being a college student and I was an active athlete, I just thought I had, severely pulled a muscle, it was severe muscle strain. And I went to a doctor and I was told that was the case and that it'd be fine and go away, but have it get checked on by a specialist when I go home. And so that's what I did. And when I came home, he said, oh, it's just a cyst. We'll do a simple surgery, remove it, and be done. Well, when that surgery began, it was supposed to take 15 minutes and it ended up taking over an hour. They ended up finding a tumor in my lower back. And I think that's one of the things about cancer stories that you don't often hear is that it's not expected. It's this weird thing that kind of comes out of nowhere and it disrupts your life completely. But so during the beginning of my treatments, I was at Johns Hopkins and I had to be hospitalized for up to 5 days in a row for my chemotherapy. And I just did not enjoy being in the hospital for such a long time. Somebody's constantly checking on your blood pressure, just always there monitoring you. And so I was connected with the social worker there, Devin, and she said, well, hey, why don't you check out the Ulman House? And it was one of the best things that has ever happened for me and my family. I began taking my treatments through the outpatient center so that I could come here at the end of the day and not have to drive all the way home for 3.5 hours. So one of the greatest things about the Ulman House is that the family dinners that wonderful volunteers come and put on. I mean, it just makes the end of a chemotherapy day that much more relaxing, and you kind of forget about where you're at in life for a little bit. And I'm so happy to say that I have become connected with other cancer warriors through the Ulman House, and that I've become amazing friends with a lot of the staff. Your staff are an absolutely amazing group of people. So I couldn't be thankful enough to everyone with the Ulman Foundation that has put this together, this and so many of the other opportunities that you offer to warriors and survivors. So Thank you so, so much. This organization has changed my cancer journey for the better, and I could not be more grateful.
Thank you very much, Maria. Our next, I'd like to introduce Emily and Mario DeCola, past residents of Ulman House who've traveled back from West Virginia to be here today. Emily receives treatment for germinoma at Johns Hopkins. Emily and Mario are both youth pastors, and Emily is a rapper. So now I'm really intrigued at how this next part's going to go. But thank you so much for making the trip back, and please come on up.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today. One would never imagine to hear the words of being diagnosed with a brain tumor. But for me, that was the day that I felt like I'd finally found relief. An answer was all I needed after dealing with unexplained symptoms for almost 2 years. On October 8th, after 4 hours of brain surgery, the biopsy revealed a germinoma brain tumor that would have developed since before my birth. I live in West Virginia, almost 100 miles away, but Johns Hopkins Hospital was still the number one choice for seeking my treatment. My family and I was eager for my journey of healing. And finally, we wanted the best physicians in the country. Chemotherapy was rough. It didn't take long before it started taking its toll on my body. I would be hospitalized several times during my treatment and my condition, needing several blood transfusions. And then there was that mysterious case of the appendix. When it was time for my radiation treatments to begin, I learned that this treatment would require me to be in Baltimore every day for 4 weeks. Since we don't live close, my husband and I began to wonder how we would navigate so much travel, especially with me not feeling my best. After speaking to a very kind social worker, Devin, we were offered an opportunity to stay at the Ulman House. We were eager to try it out, having no expectations of what our stay would look like. We walked in the door and we were instantly blown away. We never imagined that we'd experience such amazing hospitality. The family dinners, the games, my favorite, the music room, since I play piano, the late night chit-chats, and a comfortable place to rest. During a time in my life where comfort was what I needed most, the Ulman House made us feel at home. No host could have fit more perfectly for me than Devin, Sophia, Tiana, Maeve, just to name a few. Not only did we find a place to stay, but the love, support, and friendship I found at the Ulman House will be remembered forever. To my surprise, a few of them even came to the hospitals to celebrate my last day of treatment. They were there to watch me ring that bell, and I thank you for that. Oh, and by the way, on April 17th, my neurologist told me that the news, my tumor is completely gone. No more sickness, no more hospital stays. I am healed. I thank God and all my friends and family, and especially my new friends. Thank you to the founders of the Almond Foundation and the Ulman family. Thank you to every staff and volunteer. You are the best by far. And thank you to every supporter. You are definitely providing a place that changes lives, and I am one of those lives. Thank you so much for sharing my story.
From the perspective of oh my, hold up. Just give me a second. Oh, didn't expect that, out of nowhere, left field. But from the perspective of a young husband and a young wife, something like that is definitely something you never expect. And so, from me personally growing up, I've run into some battles, some challenges, some obstacles that I never thought I would have to run into, and no one should run into. So then, when we did find out about this situation, I got to marry the girl of my dreams, and I fought hard to marry this one. I'll tell you that right now. But when we found out what had happened, that's one of those things that honestly you just kind of see in movies. You see it in movies, and from the perspective of whether it might be a mother or a father, or maybe a son or a daughter or a husband or a wife. You never imagine or dream or think of yourself going through that. You think of yourself going through those good things, like graduating and getting married and getting that job or whatever it is. You have all these things you expect in life, but when you get hit by a train like cancer, you're paused. You become paused in life. And so for me as husband, what I have always grown up knowing is, okay, one day I know I'm going to get married. I'm going to get married to a wonderful wife, and then I'm going to take care of her. She's not going to worry about anything, and I'm going to make sure everything is always okay. And so when this happened, it was like, wow, I can't do anything. And from that perspective of those people in the room, which I'm sure are many that have had a family member of some kind, you have that feeling of powerlessness. Like, what can I do? What could I possibly do in my shoes? Because it's out of my hands. It's in the hands of God. It's in the hands of the doctors who we're so thankful for. But from that individual who you're the caretaker, the caregiver, looking out for that person, you're like, wow, I can't do anything. But you know what the Ulman House has done? It's kind of shown you know what? You actually can do something. Mm-hmm. You actually can make a difference. You can, whatever that might look like, volunteering time, donations of any sorts, and it's incredible. And it's something that we've experienced, we've seen, and it's moved us. It's changed our lives. It really has, for the better. And we look back at, the beginning of this and thinking to ourselves, whoa, this is going to be crazy. There's so much that we have planned, there's so much that we want to do, and this is totally stopping it all. When in reality, we are firm believers, and we've talked about this. This has done so many amazing things. And through this experience, we can stand up here and boldly say we are thankful that we've been able to meet the people that we've met, that we're thankful that we'll be able to be the best testimony for those who may come after us, unfortunately, that with this situation, but to believe in them and to tell them, you can do this. We've been there, whether experienced it firsthand or experienced firsthand from that family member who's by their side the whole time. So from the bottom of our hearts, the absolute bottom of our hearts, we thank the Ulman family. We thank the wonderful staff, Brock, Sophia, Maeve, all of you guys. We thank you guys. We thank the donors. We thank everyone who has played a part in contributing, all of you guys. We thank you guys, seriously, with all of our hearts. And we couldn't be more thankful, and we know that this is just a part in the story. We know God has a beautiful thing planned, and we're excited for the journey, and we're excited that all of you officially play a part in that journey.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We're very close to the ribbon cutting, but we cannot possibly do that without hearing a few words from our fearless leader, Brock. So Brock, come on.
Wow, Mario, that's both of you, all of you. That's tough to beat. So my team's smart. They put me last, which means I got to be brief. And I'm glad, Mario, that you got choked up, so I'm not the first one. I first want to thank all of our honored guests for joining us. Cory for taking that breakfast 3 years ago. What's the name of that diner? In Hamilton. Lost in what?
Lost in the fifth.
Amazing. But more importantly, the impact you and our relationship has had on Maryland and young adults in this state and this city has been incredible. Mayor Young, but then City Council President, thank you for taking that meeting several years ago and helping us navigate this journey. The governor and all that you are doing, thank you so much for being here with us. Emily, your commitment, Charlotte was a special part of this organization and will remain to be a part of that upstairs as a room. Senator Van Hollen, my team teases me, I call Maryland and Baltimore the healthcare capital of the world, but it's individuals like yourself that shape an environment that organizations like us can live and thrive for 21 years and growing. And our mission speakers, Emily, Maria, Mario, that's why we're here, right? And so thank you for sharing that story. It's not easy, and it helps put a face and a reality to this disease that we all know is devastating. So I was in Chicago last night, and I flew back to be here. And as I was leaving my family, my 8-year-old and 5-year-old and 2-year-old to get on the plane, my 2-year-old, my 5-year-old were getting upset. I said, "Why is Daddy leaving? Why is Daddy leaving?" And Olson, my 8-year-old, said, "Oh, he's got to go home for Ulman House." It's okay. This is important. And for all of us that are being torn between work commitments and personal commitments, my 5-year-old said, "Oh, you're right. It is. It is." And so I share that story not to exploit my terrible scheduling, but rather to share places like Almond House, and there's so many other incredible organizations and homes in this city, require time, energy, sacrifice, and it's been a huge investment of this organization over the past 5 years to make this a reality. And that reality would not be possible without all of you in this room and many others who are not. And so I'm filled with emotion, with gratitude, with pride, and a lot of inspiration of what is possible moving forward from this moment. This project, where I'm standing today, rewind 3 years ago, was the spot I brought many friends, potential donors, current donors, or just anyone that would listen to me, to come into one of 6 abandoned row homes. And I would ask them to close their eyes, and they were surrounded by walls with wallpaper falling off, with roofs that were caving in. I would ask them to imagine this one row home becoming a 12,000 square foot facility that young cancer patients and families could call home. And some of them said, "You're crazy." Actually, a lot of them said I was crazy. But I would encourage them to do that. And so many of you were a part of that experience until my team told me I could no longer enter these abandoned row homes because they weren't structurally sound. But through that experience, it provided our organization a vision that we could push forward, and so many of you jumped on board. And so I'm grateful to all of you in this room. This project was part of a massive, heroic effort for our organization. Prior to taking on Ulman House, we had never done a capital campaign. We had never been an owner-developer construction entity. And so we learned a lot. We did a lot of faking it while we were making it. But many of you jumped on early and provided your wisdom, your talent, and so many of you your treasure to make this a reality, and I'm so grateful. Our capital campaign alone had over 574 individuals making donations ranging from $5 to foundations and families gifting and pledging over $500,000, and many of them in your room. So thank you to all of you for making that up. And there are a couple things I mentioned. Emily and her family named a suite upstairs. There's still some more suites that can be named, so just to put that out there. But over $373,000 in kind was donated to make this project a reality. The furniture you're sitting on today was all donated. The windows letting light into this facility were all donated. The electricity that are bringing, light and hope to many that are in despair was all donated. So this project was truly a labor of love. It was a product of a community coming together. It was built for and by young cancer patients and families. And we're so incredibly proud of that. So we as an organization, our mission, and if you ever talk to myself or anyone on our team or board about us, you probably get sick and tired of us using that word community. And I think in this day and age, it can be thrown around quite a bit. But to us, it is a way of life. It is something we live, we breathe, and we walk every single day. And I think in my 21 years with the organization, there's no better program or project within our portfolio of all we do. Because we do a lot of other things outside of this facility, for those of you that are involved, that represents community. 500 plus individuals. On top of that, over the past 5 years, the organization has been sustained, and this project's been supported by well over 30,000 individuals from all 50 states, making contributions of time, talent, and treasure to keep the ship moving forward. And so that's pretty powerful. So Doug, our founder, who couldn't be with us today, always shares a quote or a paraphrase that I know comes from his family and how he was raised. And he says, there's a difference between a community and a crowd. And both of them bring people from all walks of life together with differing beliefs and values and agendas sometimes. But within a crowd, people are often pushing and shoving to get forward. And ultimately, the group never moves forward. But within a community, people are looking to the left, looking to the right, lending a hand, and supporting each other, giving and getting support, and collectively moving forward and achieving things that none of them thought was possible. And so, to me, that's what Ulman House is all about. This 5-year journey has been rewarding. I want to thank and recognize our board for jumping on and supporting it and believing it, despite the fact I didn't know what I was talking about early on. But most importantly, the sort of the unsung heroes in this whole story is the team. They've been mentioned, the team here at Ulman House, but more importantly, the team at Ulman Foundation. Day in and day out, they're meeting with patients and families that are facing some of the gravest stories that none of us want to have to deal with. So I want to thank them and recognize them and give them a round of applause. And so you heard, whether it's naming a suite, well, that's really a home run if we get that. But other ways to remain involved. Opening this facility, while it's a huge celebratory opportunity and a milestone that we're about to celebrate with a ribbon cutting, for us, it's a moment in time and actually a reminder that we have a lot more work to do, right? The needs and the stakes in the game just got bigger. 400 plus staves we've already had this year and many more to come. And every single day we walk into this facility, every single day our navigators walk into cancer centers, we see new things that are popping up, new needs that we as an organization have to hunker down and figure out ways to solve those problems. And so we need your help. And so there's a lot of familiar faces in here. Many of you that have made significant contributions to Ulman over 21 years, and even more significant to make this house a reality. And we thank you. And we ask and invite and encourage you to continue to do more. And there's some new faces. And we want and encourage and invite you to get more involved. So whether it's bringing your friends, your family, your business out to cook a dinner. If they didn't sell you in the family dinners, I don't know who could. We invite you to do that. There's ways to volunteer and get involved. Or it might be rallying a group. This campaign was both individuals and groups that came together to make it a reality. So thank you for being here. Thank you for making Ulman House a reality. And we're excited for what the next 21 years holds. So with that said, I'm going to close the formal remarks. We're going to invite our honored guests to come up here. We're going to do a little housekeeping to move the stage out of the way, and we're going to do a ribbon cutting to commemorate this exciting moment in time. Thank you.